Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Comics Remixed. Actually, to be specific, episode 22.2. We're almost at that silver anniversary, man.
Almost, man.
Almost. I'm your host, Junior.
And I'm David Sanchez.
This is my heterosexual life mate. David, get the fuck off.
You had your hand over it. It was kind of... I had nowhere else to go.
How about you just don't put it anywhere?
I felt like I had to do something. Are you okay? Why are you on nerve? What did I do wrong?
This is the third episode in a row.
What?
It wasn't your fault this time. I'll admit it was mine. I shouldn't have touched you. I'm sorry. That's why I always tell you, keep your hands to yourself.
He gets angry. I don't know.
Hulk smash.
Anyways, aside from Junior's crotch,
this is the... I can't think of the word. Impromptu, I guess. I don't know. Star Wars episode.
Star Wars.
Star
Disney
Wars.
Getting it home.
You know, in this episode we're going to cover everything, but the big thing, obviously, this past week, Disney has now purchased the rights and are the owners of Lucasfilm, Skywalker Sound, and what is it? LIM? ILM.
Sound and Magic.
Industrial Light and Magic.
Industrial Light and Magic.
ILM. Disney owns all of them now.
Good for you.
Yay or nay? Is this a good move? Obviously, it's a great move on Disney's part.
Yeah.
You know, Lucas has gone on and said, you know, I'm retired, I'm done, I want to pass this on to somebody who can keep it going.
Where do you see it? Because you already kind of know my perspective on this.
I'm gonna base it on past, on some of the moves Disney's made in the past. When they purchased Pixar, fans were just like, oh my God, no, they're gonna kill it. Pixar has been thriving ever since Disney purchased them. When they purchased Marvel, I wanted to cry. But I sat back and I waited and I saw how it played out. A lot of people forget, when Disney buys these companies, they also have that no interference clause in the contract. They're like, look, we own you. We're going to get a cut of whatever you make. In return, we're going to help you push your product out that much more.
Yeah. If anything,
I think it's a win situation, win-win.
Pretty much Disney, it sounds like the ideal boss. It's going to hire you, you do your job. It's not going to micromanage you, it's not going to hover over your shoulders. It's perfect. Like you were talking about Pixar. Pixar is still doing everything.
Look at Toy Story 3. That movie was magnificent.
That went in a whole other direction.
But it was it was just wow.
The fact that they're exploring with us.
If you didn't cry at the end of the first time you watched Toy Story 3, you're not a human.
No, well, also how it expanded into Studio Ghibli, how they're doing a lot of the interactions with a lot of I can't think about the Japanese names, but anyways, those studios, those Japanese studios out there. Marvel got better.
Yeah.
Their production's gotten better.
See, a lot of people say, well, Disney didn't have anything to do with the Marvel films because the Marvel films were in development way before Disney.
But
bullshit.
The money had a huge difference to do with
These films might have been in development before Disney bought them, but you know what? At the end of the day, once Disney bought them, who do you think distributed them? Who do you think promoted them? Who do you think, like you said, the money, who do you think gave them that financial backing?
I believe it was Disney that got Josh Whedon to begin with, wasn't it?
Because
he was still with DC, but then DC
Brothers.
let him go. Warner Brothers let him go.
Yeah.
So Disney picked him up.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was along those lines.
And people are like, well, Disney had nothing to do with the Avengers movie. You stupid? Yes, they did. It says at the very beginning of the movie, Disney, Marvel present.
I think
Marvel's the Avengers.
A good way to look at this, okay, yeah, Disney's the conglomerate. They're pretty much their own version of like a Viacom, but then also what they're becoming to us, the fan, the nerds. They're also becoming like a preserver. They're becoming kind of like a museum.
But see, they're not
gonna hurt it.
They're gonna let
it grow.
A lot of the fans on Facebook of our page, especially, have been just crying blasphemy about it, thinking that Disney's gonna screw it up so bad. Let me tell you guys something. George Lucas screwed up Star Wars.
Hell yeah.
Remember Jar Jar Binks? You know?
George Lucas was very much empowered to put out a better product.
Yeah. And it's like, it's his baby. If he feels he's done with it, but if I give it to these people, I think they can make it better, who else can you trust? You know, this is the creator himself saying, Disney can do it better. I think they can continue what I started.
Now we all get that.
Passing the torch.
We all get the whole. The creator created it. He created these characters under these certain rules and these certain guidelines. This is how they wish to preserve this character and have them represented. We get that through the Stan Lees and the Kirbys, even through the Image guys.
But
anybody that's created the character,
not
we
the
get
Superman
it.
thing. That's a
we
whole
get
other
it.
story.
Well, that's just it. We get it, but even they eventually accept the fact that the Superman I created just isn't a Superman for these times, right?
Right.
And George Lucas, I think a lot of the hokiness that he used to play into his movies really just was outdated. And it's all going to be okay. He passed it on to Kathleen Kennedy, which she produced all his good movies. You look at her credits, I don't see many of his crappy movies on there. If anything, I see his good movies and
Howard Duck ain't on there.
Well, no, I see his good movies and other people's good movies on her credits. Okay, so I trust her to put together a team that will preserve the Star Wars culture, present it well to the audience, and make it awesome. I hate the fact that right now, the best Star Wars stories are in a Dark Horse comic or through some novel.
The expanded universe.
The expanded universe. Thank you.
See, and that's another thing fanboys are getting mad at. Why won't Lucas make another movie? When is Star Wars coming out with another movie? They're giving you 3 more movies right off the bat with Episode 7.
I think they guaranteed 2.
3. Episode 7's already guaranteed for 2015.
Yeah.
The same summer as Avengers 2 and as Justice League. Can you imagine that? That summer, man. You got Star Wars Episode 7, the Avengers 2, and Justice League, which I'm kind of leaving in 3rd place. Because it's the unknown right now. I feel more comfortable with Star Wars than I do with Justice League.
You know, it's the injection that the action and cinematic world needed. It was very necessary. It's a long due.
I honestly think it's going to be great because not only now can you do, Episode 7, 8, 9, but you're going to, like they said in an interview, you're going to have the ability to have a trilogy for every generation.
Yep.
And especially if they decide to expand, no pun intended, on the expanded universe as far as the movies go, dude, you've got endless material to work with. Endless.
And one thing that was going on through our timeline is people talking about there's things about Star Wars that they loved as a kid. I think one of the guys, I just forgot his name right now, was talking about some old Chewbacca story where it was like the soul story.
Yeah.
And it was like the Chewbacca's son was in it or something like that, or his little brother. I would love stuff
Shout
like
out
that.
to you. Unfortunately, we forgot your name.
Sorry, sir. We do apologize, but shout out to you.
Was it Eric Olsen?
Man. No, that's not Eric. Eric can't think of that. Eric, I love you, but you can't. No. This is an older guy because this is a story that came out. I believe like in the 70s. This whole thing came out. Like,
right.
He was talking about
his
his childhood.
6-year-old.
It was a very vintage.
Right.
It was a very vintage Star Wars piece. It could have just been the early 80s. I think if anybody would understand how to play on your 2nd and 3rd tier characters, would be someone like Disney, who's had to deal with thousands and thousands and thousands of characters for a long time. Okay? They've put out other movies aside from Mickey Mouse.
Oh, of course.
For the longest.
Of course.
Okay?
There's been movies that you end up watching and you're like, holy crap, that was a Disney movie?
Yeah, man. So if we get like a awesome animated movie where it's just Darth Maul kicking the crap out of an entire planet, hey, thank you. Not that you have to do that, but if you do.
And then now you think about it, the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon. It can go from Cartoon Network over to the Disney Channel now. Not that Star Wars needs the advertising because everybody knows Star Wars.
Yeah.
But imagine that extra push.
So who are the actual businesses hurting? It's not going to be the fans. I don't see the fans hurting.
The fans are just being really, really anal right now.
Yeah.
And as fans, we can be the same way. But you got to look at it. If you're a smart fan, you can't look at it just from a fan perspective. You got to look at it as a business perspective as well.
You can't think from the heart.
Exactly. You've got to look at all angles. And it's the fans are gonna end up being the winners, but they're just gonna feel stupid.
So from a business perspective, how bad is this gonna hurt Dark Horse? And when do we see the last Dark Horse related Star Wars
That's
comic?
A question that we will not know, I don't think, at least until halfway into next year, because Dark Horse does own the rights to publish Star Wars related comics.
Until when?
I don't know, but I'm guessing it's still a while because in January, Brian Wood's brand new Star Wars comic book debuts, and it's an ongoing series. You got Brian Wood writing, Carlos Deonda doing the artwork, and Alex Ross doing the covers. And this ongoing series will take place in the regular universe that we know with Han and Leia and Luke and Vader.
But you know what that looks like to me? That also looks like a business pitch. You kind of had to show off why you're still the right person for the job.
True.
Okay, so you're gonna put out all the bells and whistles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're gonna get.
But at the end of the day, because you got to remember the big four, Marvel's first. DC, no matter whether you're a DC or Marvel fan, you guys got to admit Marvel is the #1 comic publisher right now, with DC as a close second. Then third is Image, and then fourth is Dark Horse.
Yeah, until DC, honestly, until DC could prove themselves cinematic.
Right, they're always going back and forth though. I mean, as comic publishers, I don't mean as movies.
But then again, well, this is a side note, so let's just keep going with.
Where do you think though? At what point does Disney go? You know what? Why are we letting Dark Horse publish our comic when we can hand it off to Marvel, who we already own, and we can promote the hell out of that?
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, I kind of see where you're going.
That's why this is Dark Horse's business pitch. Saying,
yeah.
We've worked on this universe for so long. This is what we could do. This is how we could represent it, and we could still make you money.
Mm-hmm. So it'd be funny to see how that comes about. Because you got to, for those that remember, Star Wars comic books were originally published by Marvel.
Because honestly, as far as Cartoon Network goes, I could see the Disney Channel really needing more of a Star Wars property than Cartoon Network being a Star Wars property. Because Cartoon Network still has like Toonami and all that other stuff that they could always lean back on. Disney Channel, even now with my kid, I can't think of most reasons why I go into the Disney Channel.
Well, we have footage of...
Well, I also avoid it too, because man, if she watches that, it's over. I won't get to watch football.
We have footage of Lucas at the contract signing. Here it is.
Today, I am proud to announce the Walt Disney Company is acquiring Lucasfilm, the global entertainment company founded by George Lucas and the home of the legendary Star Wars franchise. Okay. In addition to getting the rights to one of the greatest family franchises and epic stories of all time, Disney is also acquiring all of Lucasfilm's operating businesses, including Industrial Light and Magic and Skywalker Sound. George Lucas is a true visionary and an innovative epic storyteller who has defined modern filmmaking with unforgettable characters and amazing stories. The Star Wars universe now has more than 17,000 characters inhabiting several thousand planets and spanning 20,000 years. And this gives Disney infinite inspiration and opportunities to continue the epic Star Wars saga. Fans can expect a new feature film, Star Wars Episode 7, in theaters worldwide in 2015. And there will be more feature films, as well as consumer products, television projects, games, and theme park attractions. We're thrilled that George has entrusted the future of his extraordinary legacy to the Walt Disney Company and recognize what an honor it is. We truly understand the responsibility that comes with being the caretakers of such iconic characters that are beloved by hundreds of millions all over the world. Disney has a unique ability to grow strong brands and expand fantastic creative content, as we've proven with our successful acquisitions of both Pixar and Marvel. And the addition of Lucasfilm will further our growth strategy and create even more opportunity for Disney to drive significant long-term value for our shareholders.
I've been a big fan of Disney all my life, from when I was born. First day at Disneyland, loved Disney movies, got very involved with Disney in the 80s and working in the parks. And I've always had a fondness for Disney. At the same time, as I've gone through my career, I realized at some point I needed to retire, and I wanted to go on and do other things, things in philanthropy and doing more experimental kind of films, but I couldn't really drag my company into that, and I felt it was time for me to start thinking about retiring, and I've been doing that for the last 4 years. And one of the most important shifts that I had was I found Kathy Kennedy, who I'd been working with for 40 years, and asked her if she wanted to come and be a co-chairman with me and get ready to take over the company and take over the franchise and do everything. And once that piece was in place, I knew then I could step away and actually retire. The final block in that was to find a good, solid home for the company. And the first place I thought was Disney. They're large enough, and the match of what our two companies are is just perfect, because we're like a mini Disney. We have the same kind of operations, we do the same kind of thing, and I've worked with Disney over the years, and I know how they operate. So it was a perfect match of two companies that are constructed similarly, do the same kind of product, and I think it'll give me a chance to go off and explore my own interests, at the same time feel completely confident that Disney will take good care of the franchise I've built. And at the same time, for me, I look at it as I'm investing in Disney because that's my retirement fund. The future Star Wars films, Kathy and I have been working on future Star Wars films, and the main reason I brought Kathy on is, rather than quit, I wanted to have it move forward, but I needed somebody I trusted who could take that franchise and make it work the way I intended it to. So once Kathy came on board, we started working with writers and started working on all the processes of doing the films. So we've got a plan for 7, 8, and 9, which is the end of the trilogy, and other films also. So we have a large group of ideas and characters and books and all kinds of things. We could go on making Star Wars for the next 100 years.
And Lucas just basically being very warm about it, being said, hey, these are my, this was my life the last, 30-something years. I'm passing it on to a better place. Be happy.
Because ultimately, you just think of Lucas the man. Does he really think it? I mean, is this a legacy to pass on to his kids? Are his kids great filmmakers like he once was?
Mm-hmm.
Are they great storytellers? Maybe not. Does he trust anybody else in his family to do it? No.
Right.
So is he just gonna let it sit in the dust?
Yeah.
No. But he could get $4 billion out of it.
Yeah, like he needs money, but whatever.
I'm pretty sure a lot of that settlement too is to make sure his employees, the ones that he knows, maybe not stick around because of this merger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a severance type of pay.
But see now, this is the thing though. Disney pumped out $4 billion just for Lucasfilm and this. That does not include all the money Lucas can bring in for, anything Star Wars, like above that, like the action figure lines. Because Disney,
the licensing,
right? That's even more money.
Yeah.
It's just like, so there's no cap to it, I don't think.
Right. No, there never was. If you think about growing up, there was always a reason for some type of Star Wars action figure.
Oh, of course. He walked by the screen 30 seconds in the background.
Yeah, and then when you thought you
had
enough,
his foot was in the scene.
That's just it. When you thought you had enough of this character, okay, now let's make a leg waddle.
Pretty much.
Now let's make one of those little jumping bean things that I've never seen anybody else buy. Let's make one of those. Have you ever bought one of those? Those jumping bean things?
I buy a lot of crap.
They come in capsules.
I know what they are.
Yeah.
No.
I've never seen anyone, but we're going to make them. No one's going to buy them.
Well, we could just make them because we can.
Yeah, exactly.
No, a lot of...
So Star Wars Transformer things?
Those
That's
were
just
popular.
Crazy.
Those were popular.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, man. Chewie and Han Solo forming together to form the Millennium Falcon.
But it's like, it's crazy. It's like, oh my god, what else can we do with these things?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to forget this, and some people argue because Paramount was pretty much the distributor or whatever. But at the end of the day, which company was it that put out the Indiana Jones movies?
I believe it was Lucas.
Who now owns Lucas?
Oh, Disney does.
So what does that mean?
No. I think
No.
If I remember my history, like how this whole thing worked out with Indiana Jones, I believe it was a Steven Spielberg idea that George Lucas ended up producing. Because there was a while where they were filming each other's movies.
Right, but the thing they're saying online is because it was a Lucasfilm, it fell under the Lucasfilm umbrella. It's part of the agreement because Disney didn't buy Star Wars. They bought Lucasfilm or Lucas Limited, whatever, and everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
Including the Indiana Jones.
I could totally thinking about the
Indiana Jones, when you think about it, it's pretty much a Disney movie in its own right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like it fits in perfectly.
It does. It really
all
does.
The historical stuff,
Yeah.
Sometimes it kind of deals with like some kind of like magic type of stuff. I don't know, man. The adventure in it, like everything
it's
about
Disney.
It. Yeah,
it screams Disney.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I could see Indiana Jones roller coaster in a Disney theme park.
Yeah, hell yeah, with the freaking you go through the tunnel and have the big ball come after you.
It just they're meant to be.
So now that this is going on with this, where do you take the story? Where do you see episode 7? Do you see it
nowhere
starting
near episode 1, 2, and 3?
Do you see it continuing from Return of the Jedi? Do you see them? Well, obviously, it won't be like next day. It'll be like years later. Years have passed. Do you see the adventure still focused on Luke and Leia, and Chewie and Yoda rebuilding maybe the Jedi Empire? Maybe them making a new Darth character. Maybe focusing on Jaden Solo, which is the child of Han and Leia.
Yeah.
Like where do they take it?
I hope that.
Or where do you think they should take it, in your opinion, as a fan?
Well, wherever they do take it, starting off, they should not try to do any plot hole plugging. You get me?
Explain yourself to those that don't.
When Lucas relaunched the series, there was a lot of complaints, obviously, of how certain stories played out. A lot of the background stuff, like with the way the planets and the war interacted with each other, there was a lot of plot holes. And even as he produced episode 2 and episode 3, little by little, he tried to clean things up, but he ended up creating more of more problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and even that extended into the freaking cartoon on Cartoon Network, where it's like, oh, this is what they were doing on that planet for 5 minutes.
Who cares now?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Leave it alone.
You should have focused on it at the moment. Once that moment is gone, there's no reason for it.
If anything, now that let's say episode, I guess it would be episode 6. Yeah.
Which one?
The actual episode.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi.
You should know this, man. You know how many people are going to bash this video now?
No. But seriously, at that point, now what do you do with the fallen empire? Well, obviously, history has shown us that there's just revolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Ending a war doesn't mean that it's all over. It means that there are skirmishes, there are battles, there are civil wars.
There's a time of peace.
But then
that's not
the rebuilding itself, in the rebuilding, there's aggression.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that it's fiery. There's still craziness going on there, and that's when you could leap in there and touch upon all these other characters that only made cameos.
Mm-hmm.
That would be perfect right there. It's like we save the universe. Crap, everyone's pissed still.
And now, I didn't think about this until just this very moment. Remember the long rumored Star Wars television series?
Yeah.
Not the anime, but the actual live action. Now it definitely will have a home on ABC if they choose to do this.
I'm actually glad you brought up that point.
Can you imagine that 2-hour block? The Star Wars show, and then the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, and then the news.
See, that when you were talking about how Marvel has become a greater company and stuff, I was actually thinking about the cinema versus the TV stuff that we talked about a long time ago, how actually TV makes more money.
Oh, right. I remember.
And that's why DC focuses so much on shit like Arrow, and I think they're even producing that Beauty and the Beast one or something like that. Like
anything that airs on Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they're on that. That's what you actually cash in on.
That's Lana Lang, man. That ain't.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Beauty, whatever.
Dude, now you got Star Wars on television. That is advertising money.
Oh, of course. That's like, I think that would become second place to trying to buy a commercial spot from the Super Bowl.
Man.
You know how people go, oh, Super Bowl season, I need to pay $1 gazillion for my 15-second commercial.
Granted, the
Can you imagine that? And it's on the same station, because the Super Bowl on ABC usually?
It's, they whoever buys it gets it. NBC, Fox, whoever pays the most gets it.
Gotcha.
But, I mean, those prices will probably eventually plateau and stuff, but it'll stay at a good deal. Like, how much can you charge per second? What's your second worth?
Right.
The closer you are to the Star Wars series. Like, are you right after the credits, before the thing? Like,
you know, it's funny that you bring that up. Last night, for nostalgia's sake, I had to throw in one of my favorite wrestling documentaries, The Rise and Fall of WCW. Okay? And this is kind of, bear with me here because I'm going to get to how it relates to what you just said.
Okay. Get popped.
From 6:05 Eastern Time to 8:05, the 2-hour block on TBS back in the day when WCW, now it's kind of confusing, so bear with me here. WCW was not the company. TBS was the station, okay?
Right.
TBS, owned by Ted Turner, says, I'm going to start a wrestling block, and I'm going to name it WCW, World Championship Wrestling.
Right.
Now, Jim Crockett Promotions, mixed with Mid-Atlantic South, said, we have product for you to air on your WCW show.
Right.
Okay? That meant whoever, and Turner was smart. This is how he built the actual Turner Broadcasting station. The shows that weren't doing so good, or the shows he wanted to push and become popular, he would put on directly before WCW aired and right after WCW aired. So those who tuned in a few minutes early to make sure they caught the beginning of the wrestling would watch the end of that show and kind of get hooked on it. And the same for those that didn't want to change the channel after the wrestling aired and it was done, they see this next show. And it worked. Because once those shows became successful, they spun on their own time, and then what does he do? He inserts 2 more shows in that time slot. What I'm trying to get at is, can you imagine if somebody pays ABC to say, hey, you air Star Wars from 7 to 8 p.m. I want my show to air from 8 to 9 or from 6 to 7. Can you imagine?
So basically, we're seeing
it'd be like the same thing, kind of.
We're seeing the comeback of ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't know if they were ever on top, but
here we go. I'm come back.
But basically, we're seeing a station that could quite possibly really rise up to the top 3.
I think they could be what Fox was when we were growing up. Because you remember Fox was the station.
Fun. It was fun, man.
They had they had the 5 o'clock block. I mean, dude, the cartoon block that they had on weekdays.
They owned Saturday mornings.
Oh, hell yeah.
They owned primetime Saturday night. They owned Sunday nights, definitely. Throughout the week, I think
they had that early evening block. Like, because you had, on weekdays you had from 2 to 5 was the children's thing. Remember Power Rangers was like at 4:30?
They had the kids right out of school. They got the kids.
At 5 o'clock is when that evening block started. You had The Simpsons, you had Seinfeld, and whatever else shows. You had an hour for the news, and then you had your Fox primetime shows, which at the time, those hard-edged cop shows. New York Undercover. That show was the shit, man.
I was going to say the shit. I don't know, bro. That was the shit.
So, I mean, like I was saying, the WCW comparison, I could kind of see that going, ABC building shows around Star Wars. So this can help not only Star Wars and not only ABC, but a lot of other up-and-coming shows. Can you imagine, let's say, actor Andy No Name decides he's going to produce and write his own show, and he sells everything he owns to get it aired an hour before Star Wars.
It doesn't guarantee success.
Oh, no, I totally agree. But can you imagine? Just, this is Disney, so we have to use our imagination.
Hence the Ted Turner comparison. I totally get that.
But I'm just saying, can you imagine that? And now this guy's a rich billionaire because Star Wars helped him out because Disney bought Star Wars.
Yeah,
and now this guy, you never knew who that guy is. What if one day he's just like, I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a kid. I've even been to George Lucas's house. I have an autographed toilet bowl.
All right, leave this guy alone. We don't know who he is. Calm down.
He's Andy Actor No Name. I just said that.
Right.
Jeez.
I've never
You see
met
what I
him.
did there?
I'm sorry. I've
Andy?
never met him. Yeah.
Toy Story,
Yeah.
Disney, Pixar. See how it blends in together? Man, this is easy. Gonna make a comeback. That's that shit. So yeah.
The rise of NBC. I mean of ABC. Excuse me. Not
Oh,
NBC.
Well, like that. So, oh no, stop, man! Come on, dude, that hurts.
That was like such a nerd fight right there. All right. So what does
I will never get my bearings back
so
after that.
Star Wars-
I done lost my man card.
Star Wars being bought by Disney? What does it mean? It just
Success.
it means a lot more than movies and comics. It's gonna
And now instead of that dumb commercial where you got the Constitution walking down the stairs and singing the stupid you know what I'm
do they
talking
still
about?
play that?
I don't know, but instead of that, now you have Ewoks doing it.
A bill.
The Bill of Rights.
No.
Was that what it was?
You can't write a bill or
You know what I'm talking
on
about.
Capitol Hill.
It was
or
very
something like that.
stereotypical, and it was like you knew it was a black guy.
Yeah.
Now it's just replaced with Ewoks.
Yep.
You know,
That's exactly.
Don't
they
cut
don't-
down trees.
When I think about that commercial, I think that's what it should have been, all the time.
Yeah, that was a precursor to the map from Dora. I think. I watched a lot of Dora.
I know I was there too, man. I was there. Yeah.
You know, does that say Romney on the other side of that cup?
Commence primary ignition.